All right. No music today. Alexis, play music. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Alexis isn't even listening.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Alexis isn't even listening.
You go to sleep last night. Futures are up 20. You wake up this morning, they're down 80. That's what a bear market does. It ravages both sides. If you covered some shorts yesterday because you thought maybe there's another day or so of upside, you're coming in today saying, if you put on some risk saying maybe we could fill more of Monday's gap, you're coming in like, So the moral of the story is tricky times, my friends. All right, my name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Sorry there's no music today. Sometimes silence is where you could think about your plan and how you're going to react. I did that this morning. I was in the sauna, did 500 reps, thinking about how do I salvage some of my trades from yesterday, what levels may I add to some of my longs overnight, and if they don't hold, I just got to get the hell out of the way. So that's going to be the theme today is can we salvage some trades from yesterday and figure things out. Thank goodness I've seen this many times before. I did say yesterday that you have Fed day, you have action of Fed day, and then I've seen from experience you get the opposite the next day, and it's a trend day. So that kept me at least not being so big overnight. I do have some risk on. One thing I did do is into that rally, I bought some 370 puts for next Friday as a hedge, and it cost me less money, so that will make me some. So anyway, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. It's 6:33. It is June 16th. You can look at some of the charts while I'm saying hello to everybody. The Fed pump was bearish, I hear you, but it could have went a little bit more, so it didn't. You got Albany in the house. We got, you want to play Run DMC? I don't know what's going on here.Alexa, play Run DMC, Tricky.
It's Tricky by Run DMC from Apple Music.
It's coming on.
This is my recital.
All right, what up, Lake Tahoe? See, a little music puts you in a good mood, just like that. Oh, what up? Good morning, Godfather. How you doing? What up, Ryan? What up, New York City? What up, San Diego? I like the smile on your thing. We got It's in the house. It is tricky, 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 tricky. The market went up yesterday. The Fed went 75 basis points, but we went up and now we're lower, so we have to figure it out. Yeah, let's go. Anyway, every day above ground is a good day. It doesn't matter if you're on the highs of your year or your month. Just got to navigate the tape. What up, wind sprints? You gonna run some wind sprints today, blow some steam? Punjab's in the house. Drinks tonight? Well, right now I have my iced coffee like I do every day. Whether things are showing continuity or things are complicated, what I do is I sit in this seat, I get prepared to deal with every day. That's all you can do. You can control your keyboard, your process, your risk, your time frames, and as far as the day-to-day from the algos and the computers, you know what? That's something you can't control. You just have to look for signals and signs, and sometimes there's misdirection. SPY's heading to 350. It could. That's where my fundamental guys say there is PE support. I read a lot of reports last night. Yes, I do read macro reports too, where they're saying the PE could trade to whatever the earnings are at a 16 multiple, and there should be S&P, fundamental support around 3,500, which is in between the 34 and 3,600. But for today, first thing we have to figure out is if they can get it below the lows of the year and keep it below it. Can they keep it below 3,700? And if you're a little long, can you adverse that? 7% mortgages, yes. Very hard to get a mortgage. But that's what the Fed wanted to do. A lot of people like Red Dog, all the guys on TV, all the smart guys who aren't really that smart that play traders on TV that have mock portfolios, like if they do 75 basis points, the market's going to rip. We're going to go back towards whatever. I'm like, guys, if they're doing 75 basis points, that means they want asset prices lower. They want the market to go down. They want the wealth effect to go down. They want people to do less so they can bring down prices, because right now they're trying to fight inflation, and maybe at some point the supply chains will open up and, there could be some kind of, ceasefire negotiation in the what's called Ukraine, and Russia will stop being friggin' the Nazis of Germany from back in the day. But anyway, so that could all level out. But for now, they're trying to fight inflation. So by raising rates higher, faster, they want things to go lower faster, so people stop demanding things. So then all of a sudden prices come down, and by raising rates to 7%, no one's overbidding for houses. 3 months ago, they were lining up. You were paying over the offer. I was begging people. There's this bartender at the Standard where I get my steak sandwich and an IPA. She's getting married, and she's like, I hope I get this. I'm like, get what? She's like, there are 3 of us bidding for a house out in Westfield. I'm like, don't do it. Not right now. In 6 months from now, you'll be able to get it a lot cheaper. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the markets. Higher rates will end the war in Ukraine? No. I'm just saying if finally they come to the table and do some kind of ceasefire, that maybe that'll, whatever it'll do sentiment-wise, and it'll get some food out of there, and maybe some gas and some oil, so it brings that down. So a little bit of everything. A lot of things have to happen for this to find its tradable bottom. And right now you still haven't had what Art says, to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You haven't had that crazy fear, that crazy capitulation. Right now all they've been doing is sucking out the excess that happened in the last year and a half because the Fed pumped trillions of dollars and gave out free money everywhere because of the pandemic after a 10, 11-year run. But anyway, let's talk about today. So I woke up this morning. First of all, I went to sleep last night. I've been watching Billy the Kid with Chase. It's a good show on Apple TV. So anyway, I see the futures up 20. I'm like, you know what? I took a little long. I have a little SPY, a little Apple, a little this, a little that. Trying to think in my head. I had a great day yesterday. I'll be able to sell some this morning and have a nice, easy day, get my hair cut, around 1 o'clock and go and do this and that. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh my goodness, down 85 points, down 85 handles. Then I'm like, what the hell came out? And then I just see that, obviously around the world, everyone's raising rates. Inflation is everywhere, and everyone, besides China, every central bank is taking away liquidity and a headwind of the market, which it's been all year, versus a tailwind like we've had for the past decade. So anyway, so if you look here, this is what's happening around the world. First of all, the Dow futures are off 550. S&P futures are off 86 handles. We're right at 3,700. 3,700 is pretty important. You look in Europe, I was like, what's happening in Europe? Is Europe only lower? And the DAX is down 2.7%. So the DAX already engulfed all of yesterday, making lower lows on the year. So first thing I think about is, if the DAX is doing that, today they might not save it at the lows. Asia is still decent. Asia, you have the Nikkei up a little bit, and it's still kind of hanging in there because they're actually trying to be accommodative. But they were the ones who were, doing the tech crackdown 6 to 12 months ago while we were still kind of decent. But anyway, so let's see where the SPYs are. SPYs right now are, Mother Nature's mad, it's pouring out there, 370. Okay, 370. So we're going to simplify it today. Simplify it, because that's what we do as traders. We're not that smart. We use our levels, and we try not to have too many opinions. 370. That is where the SPYs are. Right here is 370.59. So right now, the SPYs are trading below the lows of the year. In order to get to 360 today or tomorrow, what does it have to do? It's got to stay below 370.59. That's what it's going to do. And if you're long some SPYs, and I'm long some SPYs, okay, maybe you figure out if you could buy versus a 5-minute low. It tries to bounce a few dollars. You trade out of it, and then if it breaks and stays below 370, you probably got to say, you know what, I'm going to take my loss. That kind of sucked. And figure out where the next level is. That's all you could do right here is use 370.59. If it stays below there and nothing's rallying, you know what? It is what it is. It was a trap. And hopefully you had in the back of your mind that the day after Fed Day is not, sometimes shows continuity, and you didn't take too much risk. So anyway, with that being said, we'll see. Okay, so if you take this out of the way now, it's at 370. That is your daily pivot, or your low of the week. So that is very important today. Does it maybe reclaim that and try and bounce? If it did, you know what? Maybe we even make even more money. Some days you come in when you're small long and the futures are against you. You could trade out of it and make a shitload of money because we reverse and it's calculated and you do more in the morning versus if we were up just 20 handles and you said, I'm going to sell here, sell there, and make what I'm going to make, because overnight you should never have more on than you have intraday, especially in a bear market like this, because you cannot control your risk. Overnight, anything could happen, so you could only take usually what you could afford or afford to lose. The Qs do the same thing. The Qs, the low here is 273.34. Okay. Yesterday, the Qs actually had a little relative strength. Yesterday, okay, the Qs went above Tuesday's high. It filled actually the gap a bit. Okay, and didn't really, and, you know, if you throw in your head, maybe it can go higher. You weren't wrong. If you took a little bit overnight, you know what? It's like hitting on an 11 versus 6 in blackjack. If you get an 11 versus 6, it's a good hand. Typically, you get a face card and you could make more money. You know, and then if you don't get a face card, you know, you have a chance of him turning over a 10 and him busting. So you have two chances to make decent money. It wasn't like a 5 versus 5 yesterday. So anyway, whatever. So if you go back here, the Qs, let's see what the Qs are doing. The Qs aren't below the low of the year yet. So that's a small little plus that maybe, you know, some buyers will come back this morning. Maybe. That's what we have to look at. I'm sure there are a lot of traders that are a little trapped long overnight. So I'm not looking at Adobe earnings. That doesn't really matter. Look at what Oracle did. They couldn't even really hold it up. But anyway, you know, so here's 273.34. So this is your daily time frame. Okay, this was your tactical cash flow yesterday. So now this morning, does it hold 273.34? Let's go back to the SPYs, because some people like Red Dog. When are you going to put your wife's blood in the street account to work? You put one tier in, 25%, 17% off the lows. I'm like, well, I guess now if you go to the weekly, which is what I do here. Let's go to the weekly. That's daily. You know, this is the weekly that I've posted many times. Okay, here's 370.59 right there, and here's the 200-day moving average on the weekly, which is 363. So if we get and stay below 370, and we have downside follow through today into tomorrow, 360-ish is going to be a spot where I take my wife's cash or blood on the street account, because that's what it is, blood on the street. It's only when I want extremes. So I think 360-ish will be the next extreme. I'll go from putting 25% in, which I have, so it's 75% cash. I'll be 50% in the S&P fund. One that's 17% off the highs, that'll be like 26% off the highs, and then I wait on the other half. I still do my 401k every month because I can contribute to that, and my son's 529. I might actually even throw an extra 10 grand into my son's 529 because he's 13. So over time, I think that'll be fine. But then actively, because we talk lots of different time frames, again, we'll see if it stays below there. And then you go back to the daily charts to see, you know, what potentially could be worth a look today to try and go green or try and come off the lows. Okay, Tesla was stronger yesterday. I don't know if Tesla is going to be able to, you know, save the day. It's probably not. But you had two little things that happened in Tesla this week that was better than what I've seen since up here with the, you know, the sell sequence. You had your low, and then on Tuesday, okay, it reclaimed 644, made a higher low. Lots of things made new lows. Tesla didn't. That was one small little signal that you could actively look at that for leadership. And then yesterday, it got above 679 and closed pretty well. So with the S&P testing the lows of the week and the Qs close, Tesla's not quite there. But sometimes in a bear market, if you have relative strength, it works against you because it becomes a source of funds and they could just sell it and you can get in trouble. So I would say, what's this low here for Tesla? This is 654. I would say watch 654. Okay, that is your number. If Tesla could hold above 654 and maybe try and go green, that is something that I'm going to look at potentially, you know, for an opportunity. Okay, Tesla right now is only actually 670. So Tesla's above yesterday's low, above Tuesday's low, and above the low of the week. So that is small relative strength. So today, Tesla is worthy of being on your screen. And if you see the market come in the first 15 minutes and it doesn't, maybe there's an opportunity for it to go down 29 points to maybe down only 15, and you can make active cash flow. So that's something to look at. There's not a lot of things like that, especially in tech. Yesterday, Amazon was a little bit stronger than other things. You know, a lot of guys made really good money short Amazon post-split. Why did they make it pre and post? Well, pre had 25% to the upside. Post, it split. You had a red dog reversal sell. It broke 120, and then it held 101. Yesterday, it cleared 104. It actually filled the gap and was a little stickier. So maybe Amazon is also something I will look at to see if you could buy it versus a 5 15-minute low. sometimes people are like, what's a 15-minute low? Well, that means if just say Amazon, which I'll take this over here. Let's see, what's Amazon doing this morning? It's probably around 103. It is 104.35. So Amazon is still above this yesterday's low, above the lows of the year. So maybe it's worth a look. So let me explain to you this strategy that I use when you have a little bit of surprise and you look for market discovery. So just say Amazon, it's a 104.35, goes to 104. Okay, futures come in, you know, all of a sudden now the SPY's at 368. It doesn't go down anymore, bounces back to 104.50. And so at 9:35, your low is 104 and it's trading at 104.50. That's your 5-minute low. You could say, hey, Amazon was kind of strong yesterday. Let me buy it at 104.50 because it was as high as 109 yesterday. You buy it at 104.50, and then maybe it rallies back to 106 and you make money. But if you buy it at 104.50 and then all of a sudden it breaks 104 because the market can't bounce, that's your out. You risked 50 cents to maybe have a trade there. And then maybe at 10 o'clock, all of a sudden Amazon goes to 103. The S&P puts a better low and then it comes up to 103.50. And then you're like, wow, it's 10 o'clock. The 5-minute low didn't work. Maybe the 30-minute low works. You buy it at 103.50 versus 103, and then maybe that's when the market turns. Or the market doesn't turn. It's a wet blanket all day, but you tried it a few times. You had a few paper cuts, but better than a gusher. So that's what I mean when I say a 5-minute low, a 15-minute low, a 30-minute low. You're waiting for points of reference to trade against versus just having opinions. So Amazon is something also maybe you could look at because it was kind of stronger yesterday. And Apple, you know, is always good to know because Apple, you know, is a big component of the SPYs in tech. And if Apple is going to, you know, be a wet blanket and for sale all day, it's going to be hard for the SPYs to reclaim 370 and the Qs to hold the low of the week. So Apple 131.50. Let's see, what's the low of the week? So Apple's trading like kind of in lockstep with the SPYs and the Qs because 131.44 is right here, and that's where Apple is already. So Apple's worth knowing. What's breaking connections, Francis? You can't hear me? Or are you just talking? Anyway, today is definitely a day that traders are going to be a little upset because if they covered a little bit of their hedges yesterday, they're probably like, oh, you know, they got me out of my shorts and now we're a lot lower. If you made money long and you were looking for a little bit of upside follow through because yesterday we reacted semi-decently, you're going to have to figure out how do you salvage that trade. Okay, and how do you do that? You look for a 5, 15, 30-minute low and you look for the lows of the week and you measure it. If we break and close again before the, you know, stay below the lows of the week, you take your loss, get out of the way, and then figure out the next spot. Then that's when you have to go to your weekly spots to figure out where that support is. And then again, if you're looking for investing longer term money, just space it out. We still have 2 more Fed meetings where the Fed has to raise rates. We're still kind of in no man's land. You know, we just got into bear market territory in the S&P. You know, look at ARK. ARK's been in a bear market for 15 months. Look, by the way, everyone's like, how did this happen? Well, you know, if you look at the weekly chart of ARK, it told you many different times how to get the hell out of the way. And if you know my 8 and 21-day moving average book rules, you get the hell out of the way when the sector or stock, whatever you're in, breaks the 8 and 21-day. Not only did this have a parabolic move, but meanwhile, a lot of people lost probably a lot of money shorting, and you don't short when things are above the 8 and 21-day, and that was 2020 all the way to the peak. This was your first sell signal around 140 when it broke the 8-day. Then you're like, oh, you know what, maybe let me try it. It's trying to rebuild. It came from 159 to the 115s. Then it broke right there at 113, and then it's been doing bear flags all the way down to 35. Holy cow. But again, if you don't have opinions and you use your moving averages and you watch your patterns and you know you don't get stuck in things like this and you know all the stocks that correlate to this. But anyway, you know, so for me, I'm going to simplify it. Okay, again, SPYs and Qs, do we hold the lows of the week? SPYs are a little bit below it, Qs are a little bit above it. You have to watch the TLT also. The TLT is rates, right? It felt as if yesterday, look at that, wow. Let's go back to the daily. It felt as if the TLTs tried to put a little bit of a bottom in, okay, which helped, you know, equities, right? The low is 108.59. Let me just see what the TLTs are doing. Anybody want to tell me what the TLTs are doing right now? The TLTs are, wow. TLTs are 108.50. So the TLTs are right back to the lows of the week. And anytime the TLTs are down, that means yields are higher. When yields are higher, computers are programmed to sell stocks. So that is why I always have the TLT up as I'm trading. Yesterday, the TLT tried to bounce. That's why equities were in this pressure. Now you got to look at, you have to look at 108.59. So we're right there. Does it reclaim 108.59 and come off and yields come in a little bit, or does it stay below, head lower? That means yields are rising, and that means equities are lower. So again, some kind of correlation you have to figure out. Wow. XLE, at least my community sold the XLE really well. Why did they do that? Because my community loves doji style. No, I'm kidding. Everyone loves doji style sometimes, but that's a little dirty mind you have there. Here is a doji candle. It was extended from the 8-day. It broke below 191.71. So those who are looking for a top in the energy stocks, right there, that was one clue to reduce risk. And then it broke the 8-day, and now look where you are. So I don't own any energy names, and neither do many in my community. Sold Chevron well, sold Oxy well, so that gave you a signal. Okay, now what? What's the low of yesterday? 80.99. I guess maybe see does it hold that. But again, at this point, you can lower this because that didn't hold. So here's 80.99. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 down days, just like that. Oh my God! I thought everybody said in the world you could hide in energy names. You could until you can't. Very big technical term. You could until you can't. Jesus, I'm so sophisticated. Anyway, it broke 91.71, so now I guess see what happens there. Let me see what energy names are doing this morning. XLE is it's already below it. So at 80.42, okay, so it's below this. So either it reclaims 80.99 or relieves some pressure, and maybe if you did sell 91.71, XLE is $10 below. Maybe you try and buy it for it to reclaim that, and you play a tactical bounce. If not, WTI under that is good. The USO also gave you a sell signal, a bit, right? What's a sell signal? Well, here it did a red dog reversal where the USO tried to get above the prior high and couldn't. And this candle right here probably could have said, hey, be careful if you're long oil because it didn't hold this prior breakout area. So this could be the start of a breakout failure, which would be better for the overall market environment. If oil comes in, okay, that helps with gas prices, that helps with the consumer, and that helps with inflation. So you want oil to come in, but we'll see. The low of yesterday is 86.24, so I always put that in. If I had Red Pup here, which I don't have anymore, he would have had all these in for me. Oops, that's not it. Anyway, so let's go back here. This is TrendSpider, by the way. My friend Jake and the boys. 86.24. So 86.24. You want to know that point of reference. 86.24 is right here. Sorry, I'm not as entertaining as other people out there that's all they do is try and entertain you. I'm just trying to friggin' keep you on the right side of things because your money is hard to earn. Oh, you hear that? Mother Nature's mad. Everybody's mad. Don't be so mad. If you're living life and you're above ground and you're feeling good, okay, that's 90% of the battle. Where do I apply for a Red Pup job? Scott@T3Live.com. Scott@T3Live.com. I have a bunch of people trying to apply for it. He went to a real estate hedge fund in New York City. He just graduated college. His girlfriend, his friends are there. I don't hold it against him. He lived in Milburn growing up, so this was like 13th grade for him. Anyway, Bitcoin. I had 3 tiers for Bitcoin, okay, and Ethereum, because I've been in all cash in my Coinbase account, and I put it in 2 days ago when I got filled on the first tier in Bitcoin and Ethereum, not the next 2 tiers because I had them lower. So now we'll see what happens next. You did have a red dog reversal around 20,800. So I bought some. I actually sold some too. I bought it 20,200 and I sold it at 22,000. I made 10% like that, but I'm still in half of what I did on that. So I would watch this. Even Bitcoin, technically, you could have figured out how to manage your size and your approach, because if you look here, this was when it broke the 21-day. This is when the active sequence to the downtrend started. Right here, it tried to regroup. Okay, gave you a decent tradable rally till that day. That was your time to get out of the way at 45,000. It went down 50% from there. Okay, or 37,000. Went down almost 40% from there. So anyway, the low of this year, or the recent low is 20,700. But then if you look at the weekly chart, if the S&P is going to get to 3,600 or 3,400, to me, it feels like Bitcoin should get to somewhere between 16 and 18. Okay, so this is your weekly chart. Okay, this you could even see things clearer. Sometimes you could see things clearer on the weekly chart. Here you had your false breakout. Here it tried to regroup, but then failed at 37. Then it broke below the 30,000, broke below this little pivot at 25, and then here it hit 20,071, not 20,008. That was what it hit before that. So you go 20,007. So to me, here's 16. It's been trending lower. I tried to see. I said, hey, maybe we could buy it at 20,000. If the S&P is going to go to 3,900, maybe Bitcoin could go back to 25,000 and retest this area. But if that's not the case, that's not the case. Tom Lee could say whatever he wants. Okay, sometimes just like Elon Musk, when Tesla's above the 821 day, Elon's a genius. I love him, bromance, high-fiving. When Tesla's below the 821 day, he's a little eccentric, a little wonky, and he should stop trying to buy companies like Twitter and focus his time on his company. Tom Lee is usually good over time. Over time, the bull market does win. But if you trade actively for a living, you don't want to listen to anybody. You want to listen to your moving averages. You want to listen to your risk management. You want to listen to your levels. You want to listen to things that show you relative strength and relative weakness. So those are the things you want to listen to, not friggin' blaring idiots on TV or even Tom Lee, who historically over time is right. You have to listen to your process. You need to know your time frame. You need to know what you can handle. You need to know all these things so you can do this. I've been doing this for 22 years, and I've learned a lot by trading and seat time, not by listening to everyone's opinions out there. The same way I said, I don't know what's going to happen when we raise 75 basis points, because you know what? That means they want asset prices down and they still have more to do, and then yesterday when we rallied, I'm like, you know what? I played it because it behaved and things took out areas, and then I was going to be really big overnight. I'm like, you know what? I've seen the opposite happen after Fed Day a bunch of times. We're still in a bear tape. Let me just take a little bit to have a little bit of follow through, but not too much where we open up down the next day. I don't ruin my week. So now we'll figure it out. Anyway, good luck today, guys. Holy shit, it's 6:59. I'm in trouble. I'm only supposed to do this for 20 minutes. I feel like I keep going over more than I'm supposed to. But it is what it is. I appreciate you guys. You guys are my dogs around the world. If you want to spend the entire day with me, Alpha Team. Alpha Team's where it's at. I have 500 traders around the world. We talk all day long. I put this on. This is my radio. Okay. This way I could communicate what I'm seeing, when I'm seeing it, from 9:15 to 11:30 as I trade, so I could talk and trade, and I could see what they're asking me. They could see my positions live. They could see when I buy, when I sell, when I short, anything that I do. Okay. And then I also post about 40 charts to the Alpha Team and Redler All Access. And we just try and get ourselves prepared for the day. So if you want to talk to a trader counselor, email me, scott@t3live.com. If you want to say hi, you can do that too. If you want to beat me up a little bit because I said something wrong in the last year, you could probably do that also. I'm human. It happens. But I don't get louder when I'm wrong. I usually just use my stops. I get pissed off at people that get louder when they're wrong, because that's how they get people in trouble. Anyway, good luck today, guys. Could be a complicated day, but there also could be some opportunities if you are, prepared, light on your feet, and you know your levels, and you have a clear head to watch and know what to look for. Knowing what to look for and knowing your levels is half the key. Bottom on anything, you need to be prepared. Preparation is key so you could actually execute with confidence. Good luck today, guys.